August 23rd, 1305. Picture this. The streets of London teeming with merchants, beggars, townsfolk going about their business. But beneath the ordinary hustle and bustle, something sinister was brewing. The air carried whispers, a tension that clutched the hearts of those who knew. Not every day did the capital host a spectacle designed to terrorize an entire nation. And yet, this day would do just that. William Wallace, the man who had become the embodiment of Scottish defiance, was about to die. Not quietly, not swiftly, but in a way that would forever etch his suffering into history. The romantic tales, Hollywood films, they soften it, make it heroic, almost noble. But reality was far darker, far more deliberate in its cruelty. King Edward I, Longshanks, the English king, feared nothing less than rebellion. He didn't just want Wallace dead. He wanted him obliterated, symbolically shredded, a warning carved into every cobblestone of London. To understand the horror of his death, you have to understand Wallace's life. Medieval Scotland, late 13th century, a land teetering between fragile independence and English domination. Loyalties shifted like the winds, and survival often outweighed allegiance. Wallace was not born into nobility. He was a minor landowner, a man whose family had suffered under the heavy hand of English occupation. In 1297, he led the Scots to victory at Stirling Bridge. Not a random skirmish. This was a blow to the English military machine, proving that Scottish forces could defeat heavy cavalry, that rebellion was not just possible, it was potent. Wallace became more than a warrior. He became a symbol, a figure of hope for a nation under siege. But Edward I was no ordinary king. Known for his ruthless campaigns in Wales and his strict imposition of authority in England and beyond, he saw Wallace not as a soldier, but as a threat, a living message that defiance would not be tolerated. The pursuit of Wallace was relentless. Years of tracking, espionage, and betrayal culminated in August 1305. Wallace was captured near Glasgow, likely betrayed by a Scottish knight loyal to Edward. Imagine the tension. One of Scotland's heroes suddenly powerless, in the hands of the very force he had fought for decades to resist. He was marched to London under heavy guard. Every step, a psychological torment. Townspeople gathered, gawking, pointing, whispering. The English crown was staging not merely an execution, but a performance of fear, ensuring the rebels' humiliation began long before the scaffold. Wallace's trial was held at Westminster Hall on August 23rd, 1305. Conducted in Latin, a language he likely did not understand, he faced charges of treason, murder, arson, and sacrilege. Treason against Edward I? Wallace had never recognized Edward as a sovereign. He reportedly told the court precisely that, sealing his fate. This trial wasn't about justice. It was theater. Every accusation meticulously crafted, every judge handpicked, every outcome preordained. The purpose, to transform a hero into a criminal, a beacon of resistance into a cautionary tale. The sentence was a nightmare designed to maximize suffering. Wallace was to be drawn through London, hanged, but not until dead, disemboweled alive, beheaded, and quartered. Each act deliberate, each symbolic. Drawing represented humiliation, hanging rejection by heaven, disembowelment the annihilation of spirit, quartering the physical obliteration of his body. On the morning of execution, scaffolds were erected. Vendors hawked pies and ale. Crowds gathered, some out of duty, others morbid curiosity. Wallace was stripped, bound to a hurdle, and dragged through London streets. Cobblestones tore at his flesh. Blood marked his path, a macabre breadcrumb trail. The psychological impact was as intended. Terror, awe, and warning all rolled into one. At Smithfield, the execution ground, the stage was set. The crowd surged, eager for the grim spectacle. Wallace was hanged, but deliberately, only until he struggled for air. Consciousness lingered, awareness intact, every second amplified by pain. And then came the disembowelment. His organs were removed one by one, held up to the crowd, then thrown into a fire. Medieval belief held the bowels as the seat of compassion. Burning them alive was a symbolic murder of humanity, a calculated act to terrorize not just the victim, but onlookers. Wallace's screams echoed through London, a sound that contemporary accounts claim no one had ever heard before. Yet, even in this unimaginable suffering, he reportedly maintained a level of composure, refusing to plead for mercy. Finally, the executioner delivered the stroke that ended Wallace's suffering. His head severed, displayed to the crowd. The body was quartered, each piece sent to different Scottish cities: Newcastle, Berwick, Stirling, and Perth. The message was brutal yet clear: defiance carries consequences. Each quarter displayed publicly, a silent scream frozen in wood and tar. Edward I believed the spectacle would crush Scottish resistance. For a brief moment, fear spread. Many Scots submitted. But Wallace's martyrdom ignited fire. The horror of his death became fuel for resistance. Robert the Bruce, future King of Scotland, found inspiration in Wallace's suffering. The methods of Scottish fighters evolved. Death in battle preferred over capture. No quarter offered. No surrender tolerated. Europe watched. England's reputation for cruelty spread, shaping diplomacy, alliances, and fear. The execution became more than a punishment. It was propaganda, psychological warfare, a demonstration of absolute power. Contemporary records are chilling in their detail. English chronicles describe the crowd's reaction, Wallace's struggle, the step-by-step cruelty. Scottish accounts frame him as a martyr, a man of courage and dignity even in death. Legal documents from Westminster provide cold precision. Charges, sentence, procession, disposal of remains. Each detail intentional, each preserved for posterity. Historians note the duality. The English sought to obliterate, yet they inadvertently created a legend. Wallace's death became a moral victory, his suffering a symbol stronger than any military achievement. Wallace's execution reveals uncomfortable truths about human nature. Ordinary people watched, cheered, jeered, not monsters, but conditioned participants in state-sanctioned cruelty. The executioner's skill, the bureaucratic orchestration, the public spectacle, these normalized extraordinary cruelty. Civilization, it seems, is fragile when cruelty is ritualized. Edward I aimed to extinguish rebellion. Instead, he immortalized it. Wallace's suffering transcended deterrence, becoming a moral symbol. The story resonates centuries later. Principles, sacrifice, dignity, these can outlast even the most calculated cruelty. The horror of William Wallace's execution shaped Scottish identity. His martyrdom inspired centuries of resistance, cultural expression, and moral reflection. Later legal thought, literature, art, and film have all grappled with the spectacle of his death, turning atrocity into cautionary lesson and symbol of human resilience. The methods may have changed, but the struggle between oppression and liberty remains. Wallace's execution is a reminder that freedom carries a price, that courage often demands unbearable risk, and that human dignity can endure even in the face of ultimate degradation. When you think of William Wallace, do you see the hero from movies, or the man who faced the most horrifying execution imaginable? Sometimes history refuses to be sanitized. It stares back at us with a raw, uncomfortable truth. Freedom is worth the cost, but the cost was terrifying.